Welcome to the Modern SD. I'm Coraline, your host, and this is the podcast where we keep it real about life as an esthetician. Each week, I'll share tips, lessons, and motivations to help you grow your business and thrive in this amazing industry, whether you're just starting out or looking for a boost. This is your space to get inspired and level up. Let's dive in and get into today's episode. Hey girlies, welcome back. I am so happy you are here with me again. It means the world to me. And I just want to say this episode, I feel like we all need to hear it. And it's something that I feel like we all struggle with. But I just want to start this episode by asking you this one question. And it's, what will you do if you weren't afraid of failing? Yeah, that's right. That question is tough, right? I swear, like I asked myself that question and I was like, damn, what would I do? Like, I'm gonna do everything. I will do everything that I can. But would you start, that business you always dreamed of? Would you go after that new job? Would you start doing things out of your comfort zone? Would you finally take that creative idea and make it real? Like, what would you do? And the truth is, fear of failure is the biggest thing that holds people back, not just from success, but from even trying. Trying, guys, it's crazy. We get stuck in this mindset of, what if I mess up? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? And before we know it, we talk ourselves out of it. And we talk ourselves out of taking action. I get it because I've been there. I'm so glad that I kind of worked past that mindset. And so has every successful person out there, and even people that you admire. Like, here's the reality. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. And I had to learn that and just understand it. No one reaches their goals without stumbling along the way. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to change the way you think about failure. I'll be sharing, some personal stories, some inspiring examples of women who failed before they succeeded, and some practical ways to kind of push past that fear and start taking action. So if you've been feeling stuck or doubting yourself, this episode is for you. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Let's start with something important. Failure is universal. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're at the top of your game. Everyone experiences failure at some point. You could think about some successful women out there or successful people. For example, I saw on social media, like 3 women. Was one, J.K. Rowling. She was rejected 12 times by publishers before Harry Potter got published. Or like Oprah, she was told she wasn't fit for TV and got fired from her first job. Also with Sarah Blakely, which is the founder of Spanx, she had multiple failed businesses before she finally made it. And yet, when we fail at something, we take it so personally. We think it means we're not good enough or that we should give up. But the truth is, failure is simply part of the journey. I had to hear that. Wow. But it's simply just part of your journey. I just love reading those stories and just coming across them because they just remind us that failure is part of the process. It's not a sign that you should give up, which I wish I had this mindset back then, but it's just a sign that you're on the right path to learning and growing and getting closer to where you want to be or to where you should be, you know? I want to share my own personal story with you because I know how easy it is to feel like failure is the end of all roads. And, you know, one example could be when I first started my first studio, like I mentioned before in my previous podcast, how I went into that experience very blindsided and not prepared. And that really prepared me to open up my studio now and have different approach when it comes to business and growth and just how everything works. You know, it takes time, it takes failure to really learn something. And I always think about that experience and everything I did wrong, but also very grateful that I went through that because there's so much things that I have learned in conversations I had as well that helped me grow and learn and just really appreciate everything I went through when I first started. I remember at that time, oh my God, at that time I felt so defeated, like probably cried a couple times that I can remember. I thought, well, that's it. I blew it. Maybe it's just not for me. But looking back, man, I see that failure was actually the thing that put me in a new direction and forced me to reflect, adjust, and just, you know, come back stronger. Maybe you had a moment like that too, you know, a time when something didn't go as planned and it made you question everything. If so, I just want to say, I see you. I know it's tough, but I also know that this moment does not define you. I think a lot of us fear failure because we've been taught to see it as something bad. Like if you fail, it means you're not smart enough, talented enough, or good enough. But that's just not true. That's just a lie. That's just a lie from society. But failure simply means you tried. You tried something. And a lot of people don't try. It means you were brave enough to go for something. And it also means you learned something because every time you fail, you gain experience, wisdom, resilience. Just imagine if a baby was too scared to fall. So they never tried to walk. That would be ridiculous. Like imagine, like we fall down, we get up, we try again. That's how we learn. So why, as adults, do we need to stop allowing ourselves to fall? That's a good one. Why do we stop allowing ourselves to fall? Yeah, just think about that. So, if you're someone who's afraid of failing, I want to challenge you to start looking at it differently. Instead of thinking, what if I fail? ? Try asking, what if I succeed? What happens if I actually succeed in that thing? You know, instead of thinking, I'll be too embarrassed if this doesn't work. Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Literally, that was me literally when I started this podcast. Like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? People going to laugh at me? Oh, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, the worst case scenario is not as bad as we make it seem. If you start a business and it doesn't work, you can always start another. Or if you apply for a job and you didn't get it, so what? You can apply somewhere else. If you put yourself out there and someone judges you, so what? Their opinion does not define you. I saw this quote and it said, failure only becomes permanent if you stop trying, which is true, you know? So what can you do if fear of failure is holding you back? Here are a few things that has helped me. And it's one, start small. Start small. If you're scared to take a big risk, start with something small. You want to, start a business. You want to try selling one product first. You want to switch careers, take a class in the field and see how it feels. Start small, don't dive all the way in. Take a little risk. 2, surround yourself with the right people. If you're constantly around people who are afraid of failure, that fear will rub off on you. But if you spend time with people who are willing to take risk and learn from their mistakes, you'll start to see failure a little differently. 3, remind yourself of past wins. Like I said this before, always remind yourself of things that has happened that came true. Facts, You opened up your own business as a fact, Showing yourself that proof could help you remind yourself of all the things you have accomplished. 4, celebrate effort, not just success. We tend to only celebrate results, but what if we started celebrating the effort it takes to try? That's a good one. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, recognize that you're moving forward, you're moving towards something. 5 is give yourself permission to fail. No, like seriously, say it out loud. I give myself permission to fail. It's okay to fall. It's okay to mess up. What matters is that you keep going and you also learn from it as well. If you fail, then you don't learn from it, and then you do it again, you're kind of, it's not helping you. So you want to make sure when you fail, you reflect and you learn and you keep going. So if no one has told you today, let me be the first. You are capable, you are strong, and you are not your failures. Failing at something does not mean you are a failure. It just means you're growing. So if you're holding back on something because you're afraid, I encourage you to take one step today. Just one little tiny step. If that's just writing down an idea that you had or telling a friend, just start. And remember, you're not alone in this. And talking about being there for one another and just not doing this alone, I am so excited to announce that I launched my very own online group chat and community networking chat room called the Femme Founders. I'm sure you have seen it on socials if you follow me on my business page. But if you don't know about it, let me just be the first to let you know here on my podcast. This group chat is more than just a chat. It's a community of women in the beauty industry, women entrepreneurs, industry leaders, where we share insights, ask questions, and just support another. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, go to my Instagram at Ravi Aesthetics for more info. And I hope to see you guys there. And it's free. I almost forgot, it's free. Also, in the chat, if you are from Charlotte, North Carolina, this chat is for everyone, but if you are from Charlotte, North Carolina, we do have a chat in there where we could create events or hang out or just chat amongst each other as well. But thank you so much for listening to The Modern Esty. I hope you feel inspired and ready to keep growing. If you enjoyed this episode, like always, don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, or leave a review. Keep going, keep learning, and I'll see you next time. Bye.